2x minus 7e to the x minus 4 equals 0. I'm interested in solving this equation for x. So how can we do it? Well, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to rewrite this equation a little bit. So I can write it as 2e to the x squared minus 7e to the x minus 4 equals 0. So again, remember that whenever you have an exponent raised to a power, you can multiply the powers together. So e to the x squared is really x times 2, which gives you back the 2x that you see up here. So the reason why I rewrote it like this is because I want to have an e to the x here and an e to the x here. So I'm going to use something called substitution for this one. So wherever I see a e to the x, I'm going to call it u, which is a dummy variable. So we're going to say let e to the x be equal to u. So wherever I see an e to the x in this equation, I'm going to replace with u. So I have e to the x squared, that would be 2u squared. Here I have 7e to the x would be minus 7u. Minus 4 equals 0. So it's like a substitution we're doing pretty much. So this is going to be factorable. So when you took algebra, you learned the AC method of factoring. So this is like my A, this is like my B coefficient, and C is my constant. So there's something called the AC method when you factor. So how does the AC method work? Like this. We take the A value and we multiply by C. So A times C would be 2 times negative 4, which is negative 8. So I multiply my A and my C coefficients together. So what I have to do next is I have to figure out 2 factors of negative 8 that add up to my B term. So what are they going to be? So 2 factors of negative 8 that add up to negative 7. So how about negative 8 and positive 1? So negative 8 times positive 1 is negative 8. Negative 8 plus 1 is negative 7. So that's my AC. And negative 8 plus 1 plus positive 1 is negative 7, which is B. So negative 7 you can see is B. A times C is negative 8. So this is a perfect match here, these 2 factors. So I'm going to be able to use those 2 factors. So what do I got here? I got 2u squared minus 7u minus 4 is equal to 0. So using these 2 factors, negative 8 and positive 1, I'm going to rewrite the middle factor. So this will be 2u squared minus 8u. So the negative 8 is coming from here. Plus this one, right? The positive 1. So positive 1u minus 4 equals 0. So now we're using the grouping method. So negative 8 plus 1 is negative 7. And then we still have our 2u squared and our negative 4 that hasn't gone anywhere. That's still the same. Just rewriting the middle term. So this is like the middle term here. If I add those up, I get the negative 7u. Okay, so I have to figure out the GCF, which is the greatest common factor of this one, and the GCF of each group separately. So the GCF of 2u squared and 8u would be 2u. The GCF of 1 and negative 4 is 1. So if I take a 2u out of a 2u squared, I get a u, because 2u times u is 2u squared. If I take a 2u out of a negative 8u, I get a negative 4. If I take a 1 out of 1u, I get a u. If I take a 1 out of a negative 4, I get a negative 4, which is pretty obvious. So what I get is a common binomial factor, as you can see in both cases. So I can pull it out of the brackets completely. Since these are multiplied together, you can pull out the factor. So if I do that, it's going to give me u minus 4 times whatever is left. So 2u plus 1 is what I have left over. Equals 0. So we're factoring this by grouping, basically. Okay, well, so these are multiplied together, so I can use my zero factor property and tell myself that either u minus 4 is equal to 0 or this guy over here is equal to 0. So if I do that, this is going to give me u is equal to 4 for this one. This will give me u is equal to negative 1/2 for that one. Now, what did we say? We said on top that we said u is equal to e to the x, and we want to solve for x ultimately, right? X is our main variable. U is a dummy variable. So we said u is equal to e to the x from the top. So for each one of these, I have to plug them in, see what I'll get for my answer. So if I do for u is equal to 4, that means 4 is equal to e to the x. For this one here, for the negative 1/2 for u, this one's actually not really going to work. I'll show you why in a minute. So I'm going to say negative 1/2 is equal to e to the x. I'm plugging it in for u. So how do I solve this? Well, again, I'm going to take the ln of both sides, right? Because again, ln of x is equal to log base e of x from earlier. So these are going to cancel out. So I have ln of 4 is equal to x. Now, for this one over here, it's not going to work. See, if I do ln of both sides, this will cancel out, so I'll just get the x. But if I do ln of a negative, I can't do that. Because again, that means log base e of negative 1/2 equals x. But on the first page, I told you that your argument always has to be positive. You can't have a negative argument. You can't have 0 either. It has to be strictly positive. Otherwise, it doesn't exist. So if I take ln of negative 1/2, it doesn't work. So this one's completely void. This one's okay. If I take ln of positive 4, that's positive. So my calculator will tell me it's approximately 1.386 for the answer. So this is the final answer. It's the only answer we get. Can't take the ln of a negative number, or the log of any base of any negative number. It doesn't work. It has to be positive. So I get 1.386 for the only answer we get is 1.386. Any questions? Does it make sense? So your last question is just like this, part F on number 2 for homework 19. Okay, so if there's no questions, then you guys can work on this assignment.